Alright guys, so I got my Mark 18 by KWA out, and I got my GMP M16A4. This is more of a custom build. This I got used, but we're not talking about guns today. We're talking about optics. So let me get my screwdriver out, take these optics off. We'll go into depth about them. I do have some more optics. I have one that I've lent to a friend. I've had experience with other optics. Try to get these screws off. They're on pretty tight. There we go. This one. Go. Right. So first, I'm gonna go over what I have on my M16A4, because it is kind of important why it's on there. So on my M16A4, I have a Trijicon ACOG clone. Pretty much almost like the real deal, except it doesn't have tritium, or the radioactive glowing material, in it. So when you have no light situations or very, very low light situations, it's not going to perform as well. But most clones of the Trijicon ACOG have the sort of, I want to say, earlier reticle, which is more of a crosshair with some stadia lines on it and some bullet compensation lines. Those are what you normally find on clones of Trijicon ACOGs. This one, however, if you can see it, has stadia lines and the bullet drop compensator, which is the vertical line going up and down, and you have the red chevron and that little red post. Now this type of reticle is what is mostly used nowadays, especially in the military. When I was in the Marine Corps, we used pretty much the same type of reticle on our ACOGs. It's what you probably see in lots of video games, like in Battlefield. I'm not going to go into detail on how to use this reticle properly, since this is airsoft and you're never going to really engage the distances, or your BB's not going to really follow the same bullet drop. It also depends on what kind of barrel you have, how long it is it a Type bore. So I got this because of the reticle. I'm not trying to knock on the other ACOG reticles that you find in clones. That's the crosshair. I just, for my clone M16A4, I just felt like trying to find a chevron, the little arrow. This is a very nice optic. It didn't come with this kill flash. I bought that separate. This is not actually a real one. It's a clone as well, but it comes with all these proper markings on here. In the Marine Corps, we call these optics RCOs. Just stands for Rifle Combat Optic. I have no idea what ARD stands for. Yeah, it just has a bunch of little markings on there. It's kill flash. It does have an RMR mount, so you can put an RMR on here, which I do plan on doing. It does have these little nifty little iron sight right here. I use that a little bit, but this is a very good scope. The glass, if I can show you, is nice and clear. That chevron really does pop out very nicely. My room it looks brighter on film right now. It's not too bright in here. It's not like outside during the day, but it's still lighting up really well. So this, I love this optic. I've been searching for years for a clone of an ACOG that had this optic, or that reticle technically. I've had other ones, they worked fine. I just really love the chevron. It just brings me back to when I looked through my optics in the Marine Corps. Obviously my optics in the Marine Corps didn't have the little iron sights with a mount for the RMR, but this is my M16A4, and it's not uncommon to see RMRs on ACOGs in the Marine Corps. So that is for my M16A4. As long as we're talking about sights and optics and stuff, I do have, well, I'm missing the backup iron sight. I usually have a flip up Knights Armament 600 meter clone backup sight, made by GMP as well, came with the kit. It's a very nice backup iron sight. I'll have to find it later. But I have this. That is your leaf sight for a M203 grenade launcher. Very, very close to the actual real one that I've used. Obviously, the numbers and the lines are different, for this is airsoft. So I believe on the real one, one of these top two ones is like, I think 400, and then like 3, and then 2, and then 1. Obviously in airsoft, you're not reaching 400 yards with a like mini Nerf football or anything. I believe this is made for the GMP grenades that actually come with a rubber cap. Those fly really fast and really far. If you have the rifled grenade barrel, they do give it spin. It's really nice. I've used that for years. Not really in games because they're black and they tend to disappear really quickly. But I believe that's what these are for. For the Nerf football, I'm not getting as much range as those little black rubber caps. So that 100 is more like about 50, 60 feet. This 200 is maybe about 100, 150 feet. When I use the grenade launcher, I rarely use this because I'm still trying to figure out how it works with the mini Nerf footballs. For the rubber caps, these are pretty dead on accurate. What you do is you just line up the front sight post. So yeah, I'm aiming at sort of like the 100. So you would have your front sight post pretty much in between those two little pointers, I guess. Like that. There's a couple grenade sighting systems. There's one that mounts right here that you sort of turn to the desired, and you look sort of down the side of the rifle. They used to make an airsoft one. Those are really hard to find. You could get a real one and use it. I just prefer the leaf one more. Tucks right out the way. The side one sort of blocks some stuff. It takes up room. I believe you can only really use it on a carrying handle on the iron sight. So but don't quote me. I've used that sighting system on the real M16 probably a couple times on the grenade range, but most of the time I've used the leaf sight. So yeah, there's that. Next optic we're gonna take a look at is my new, I literally got this a few hours ago. I have another EOTech clone that I broke because I'm an idiot. This is a clone, but it comes with nice trademarks and everything. It's very nice. Only gripe I have about it is the reticle on here. Like, the reticle should look like that no matter how far your eye is away, but when you start backing up, that reticle just gets bigger and bigger. So it's okay. I like it. It's very crisp. It's hard to tell on camera because it's not picking it up so well, but it's a very, very crisp dot, crisp ring and all that. Just only thing I don't like is that it's a little too big. But still usable for airsoft, of course. Do have green. You do have multiple brightness settings. They don't go too low, which I think is a common thing with airsoft clone EOTechs, is that the brightness doesn't go too low like on the real thing. So indoor shooting, if it's kind of poorly lit, you might get a lot of flash or bleeding of the reticle, making it a little harder to see. Yeah. See if I can back up. Yeah, see? The reticle probably looks about that big in my sight. So it's kind of big. It should be about half that size maybe, or maybe 3/4 that size. So obviously the closer you get to it, the smaller it looks. But let me show you. When I first opened it and I looked through it, I was like, what the hell? That thing's huge. Put it on the gun, it sits about right there. So it's still kind of big. But it's a cheap EOTech clone I got for about, I don't know, $55 with expedited shipping. So it's not bad. Great little indoor gun. Kind of worried though that if I ever put a magnifier, how big that thing's gonna look. But we'll see. So far it's okay. Sights in pretty well. I wasn't too far off when I first put it on the gun. Obviously now I might have lost the zero a little bit because I just took it off, but it's nice. Very well made. But yeah, these are my two sights that I use most of the time. I do have another sight. I don't have it in hand. Like I said, I gave it to a friend to borrow. I believe it was a GMP red dot, like 20mm red dot sight. It had red, blue, and green. Its brightness levels went 1 through 5 for each of them. 1 was pretty low, which was nice. It was a very cool red dot. I had it on a little cantilever. It was, I think, like $60 on e-bike. But yeah, that sight I usually have on my M4, but I don't have it right now. So these are two optics. I do have a huge magnified scope. We are not going to talk about that because that's for a sniper rifle, and that thing scope is huge. So that'll be in another video when I get a bolt action rifle. So yeah, these are optics. If you have any questions or comments, concerns, tips, whatever, please comment below. Send me a message. Always happy to help. No such thing as a stupid question, except for will this scope work on my gun? If your gun has 20mm Picatinny rail or a mil-spec 1913 rail on the top of your gun, this optic will work. I hate when people ask that question. Will this optic work with my gun? Does your gun have a 20mm rail on the top? Yeah. Then there you go. Yeah. So, see you guys on the flip side.